I want to kill him. Nigga ain't trying to get out my way. I stumped him. I'm going to kill a dad on my mama. I'm killing nigga Memphis. Been told you to play with me, you hear me? I'm going to spit on you, you hear me? When I kill you too, you hear me? Yeah, and on Junior, yeah, all right, yeah, on Junior, motherfucker.
Following breaking news tonight at 6 o'clock, a shooting in the Snuff District leaves one man dead and a woman hurt.
Something heavy is unraveling in the streets of Memphis right now, and y'all, this ain't just about music anymore. What started out as some quiet tension between familiar names, it has exploded into a full-blown tragedy that's shattered families, ripped apart friendships, and left an entire community desperately searching for answers. People who once rode for each other, tight like brothers, are now staring each other down from opposite sides of a war. And it's not just gossip at this point. It's all over social media, raw, bloody, and heartbreakingly real. This ain't no regular rap beef. This is deep. This is personal. This is life or death. Today, we're breaking it all down. The shocking timeline, the big names, and how a deadly tension turned an entire neighborhood into a war zone. From rap dreams to bloody reality, sometimes a line gets crossed that you can never come back from. Because when it's your mother or your child getting caught in the crossfire, there's no pause button. There's no thinking twice. It's survival. And Memphis just showed the world what happens when survival becomes the only thing that matters. The story kicks off with a violent storm brewing within a tight-knit crew from Memphis, a crew that once shared the same streets, the same dreams, and now shares nothing but bloodshed. Daniel Bates, better known as Matt Critter, was one of those names heating up the Memphis scene. Coming straight out of South Street in North Memphis, he even got the ultimate stamp of approval, a deal with Gucci Mane himself. And while the streets whispered about his connections to a group called TTG, Train to Go, nothing was ever officially confirmed, but if you knew, you knew. Then there's lled, another Memphis artist who once stood shoulder to shoulder with Matt Critter. They were tight, real tight. So tight, they dropped a track called Act Up about 2 years back that racked up almost 500,000 views. But as it always goes in these stories, loyalty cracked. Friendship turned into quiet resentment, and before anyone even realized it, the bond was broken. lled, repping the label FBG, the same FBG connected to Future, started rolling with a different crowd, WDG, Walk Down Gang. And life wasn't exactly throwing blessings his way either. Not long ago, lled found himself in serious legal trouble, busted in Miami while still on probation, caught with a firearm and narcotics. Since then, he's been stuck out there, far from the streets that raised him, and far from the loyalty that once protected him. Meanwhile, Matt Critter wasn't exactly riding a smooth wave either, even before the big drama popped off in 2023. Tragedy had already knocked at his door. One of his closest friends, Junior Boss, was brutally slain in the heart of their own neighborhood, 7th Street, at 4 o'clock in the morning. It didn't feel random. It felt personal, maybe even retaliation for a rival's death that happened just hours earlier. Another young man, gunned down. This time found inside a car, just a few yards away from where the first shooting had happened. Another family shattered, another name added to the list of souls stolen too soon. The second victim, identified as 23-year-old Alandis Turner, a relative of the first victim. His girlfriend, pregnant with their second child, could barely hold it together when she spoke to reporters. "He's a good person always," she said, tears breaking her voice. 2 lives, 2 funerals, 1 afternoon, and the streets of Memphis felt colder than they ever had before. But behind all this bloodshed was an even deeper betrayal, one that hit like a knife straight through the heart. The first man killed, Markeith Taylor, wasn't just another name. He was family to Matt Critter. He had a child with Matt Critter's sister, and when a witness finally came forward pointing to Gary Taylor as the trigger man, the story took another dark twist. Gary? He was somehow accidentally released from custody. Yup, you heard that right. Mistakenly released, only to be snatched back up a couple days later. But by then, the damage was done. Trust was shattered. The whole city was talking. And while all this was going down, Gucci Mane was making his own savage moves, slashing nearly his entire artist roster at 1017 Records. The reason? Money problems. Gucci, a businessman through and through, reviewed the label's profit and loss sheets and realized the numbers weren't adding up. He said the structure was broken. Too many liabilities. Not enough real growth. And in a cold, calculated move, he dropped almost every artist, except for Pooh Shiesty and Fujiano. He swore there was no bad blood, that it was just business. He even personally called every artist to break the news. But let's be real, when you cut off people's bags and dreams at once, feelings get hurt, tensions rise, and old alliances start crumbling fast. And right there in South Street, the cracks turned into full-blown earthquakes. On one side, WDG, Walk Down Gang, riding with lled on the other, TTG, trained to go standing behind Matt Critter, and in the middle, two hot-headed young soldiers, each one riding second in command for their side. T-Head, Matt Critter's right-hand man, and Walk Down JD, Lil Double O's close ally. Both were fiery, both had something to prove, and both would soon lose their lives within just 72 hours of each other. Because in Memphis, once the first shot fires, the war doesn't stop. The tension wasn't just bubbling behind closed doors anymore. It was boiling over for everyone to see, live on social media. T-Head, the man seen as Matt Critter's closest associate, couldn't hold it in anymore. Months ago, he hit that go live button and unleashed a fury. Y'all, it wasn't just some vague shade either. He was pacing, waving a firearm at the camera, openly threatening people he once called family. He pointed his words like loaded guns at Lil Double O and his crew, the Walk Down gang, claiming he knew who fired shots at him earlier and warning them they had messed with the wrong one. T-Head wasn't hiding nothing. He flashed stacks of cash, he waved his weapon proudly, and he sent a crystal clear message. You shoot at me, I will end you. He didn't care about the police, he didn't care about consequences, he only cared about making sure everyone, especially WDG, knew he wasn't scared. It was wild, it was raw, it was the kind of live that chills your blood because you know it's not just talk. And while the streets were still buzzing from that live, Walk Down, JD jumped on his own live stream, standing boldly on South Street, deep in enemy territory. JD's energy was a ticking time bomb. He spoke with his whole chest, shouting that he wasn't going to ride Lil Double O's coattails, that he built his own reputation, and that he wasn't scared of nobody. He dragged out deep resentment, frustration, and anger, even calling out blood relatives, disowning loyalty ties that once existed. JD wanted the world to know, I stand alone, I don't need none of y'all. He taunted Matt Critter's side, made it personal, aired out frustrations about how people underestimated him without money or a team backing him. In his eyes, he wasn't just beefing with a group, he was fighting to prove himself against a city that doubted him. And just like that, the invisible line that separated talk from violence, it was gone. Meanwhile, with all this chaos swirling, Matt Critter decided to finally speak his truth. He sat down for an interview with Wicked, trying to tell his side of how the brotherhood with Lil Double O crumbled, and whoo! Matt Critter didn't hold back. He said he loved Double O like a brother once, truly loved him. He helped him when nobody else would. He vouched for him, protected him, even put food in his mouth when O had nothing. But betrayal always cuts deepest when it comes from family. McCritter said things changed when Double O's younger brother got involved in an embarrassing scandal, caught up in a messy situation with a transgender individual that shook their whole neighborhood's respect. Critter said it wasn't even the scandal itself, it was how it was handled. No accountability, no fixing it, just pure embarrassment. And that wasn't all. Critter accused Walk Down JD, Double O's right-hand man, of straight-up snitching. He said JD had paperwork, that he cooperated against the 400 gang, and that anyone tied to JD couldn't be trusted. The betrayal felt heavy. It wasn't just street codes, it was broken trust, broken brotherhood. And then, the cherry on top, the infamous chain drama. Critter claimed he let Double O borrow a chain, a symbol of loyalty in their world. But when that chain went missing, rumors spread that Critter tried to shoot Double O over it. Critter shut that all the way down. If I wanted you gone over a chain, you'd be gone, and I'd be in jail right now. That's how serious he said it was. He denied ever asking for $15,000 or $20,000 over the chain, calling the rumors pure lies. Critter made it clear he never needed Double O's money. He wanted loyalty, not cash. But Double O, he said, had surrounded himself with people who only used him, people who wouldn't take a charge for him, wouldn't protect him when it mattered. And as far as Matt Critter was concerned, O had lost the streets, and no Instagram post was gonna cover that up. The damage was done. The bridge was burned. Then it happened. On March 13th, 2025, everything exploded. It was just before 9:30 p.m. when the calls started flooding into 911. Gunfire, again, on North 7th Street and Chelsea Avenue. When police pulled up, the scene was heartbreaking. T-Head, Matt Critter's loyal soldier, the one who went live swinging threats, was lying dead. Next to him, Matt Critter's own mother, shot, bleeding, hit in the thigh and forearm by graze wounds. The streets went ice cold. Witnesses said they saw two men fleeing, running into the night with rifles. Some said they went north, others said west into the woods. Chaos was everywhere. Police raced around, locking down streets, hunting for suspects. Neighbors peeked out from behind curtains. Helicopters buzzed overhead. Medical crews fought to save lives. Officers pieced together scraps of witness accounts. A man in a black hoodie, another in a brown shirt, a red Dodge Charger seen speeding off. It was total panic, and despite all the manpower, despite the urgency, no arrests were made that night. The streets were left buzzing with rumors, grief, and rage. But y'all, Memphis wasn't done bleeding yet. Less than 48 hours later, another shot to the heart. Walk down JD, the same JD who had gone live, who had stood on South Street challenging everybody, was gunned down. It happened around 5 p.m., broad daylight, front yard of a house on Hunter Avenue. When police got there, JD was lying in the grass, a fatal head wound, no chance to save him. Neighbors gathered in clusters, whispering in horror. Fox 13's reporter Rosalind Freeman stood on the scene describing the atmosphere. The officers on the scene call it tragic. I saw neighbors just standing there, stunned, shocked, waiting for answers. And just like that, another name was added to the growing list of deaths tied to this unraveling feud. Police had 0 suspects in custody. No motives were released. Only a desperate call to the community. If you know anything, call Crime Stoppers. And the streets? They fell silent, but not peaceful. People were scared, people were angry, and more than anything, people were tired. In just days, 2 young lives were snatched away, families shattered, children left fatherless, mothers mourning sons they once prayed would make it big, make it out. What started online, what started with words, pride, and betrayal, had turned into funerals, hospital visits, and grief that clings to the air like smoke. The Memphis rap scene, the streets, the families involved, they'll never be the same again. And now, the questions are swirling like a hurricane. Was this all about music? Was it loyalty turned sour? Or was it something even deeper? Pride, betrayal, a fight for respect that spiraled way out of control? You tell us, what do you think really sparked this bloody chain reaction in Memphis? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. We want to hear from you. And if you vibed with this story, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe, and stay tuned for more deep dives into the real stories behind the headlines. Because trust, there's always more where this came from. And before you go, check out the next videos popping up on your screen. You are not gonna want to miss these.